Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Futures webinar series. My name is Anna Jamila, and I am the coordinator of the webinar series. Tonight, our topic is the why of lean, and where we will learn about the benefits the scientific method can have for both us as individuals and the companies we may work with. We have the honor of hosting Lejla Brouwer-Hadzialic to present this topic. She has an MBA and is a certified Lean Six Sigma black belt. She strongly believes in new ways of education and development and is driven by working with people, connecting, exploring, developing, and growing. Lejla, welcome and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you too.
So before we start this webinar, Lejla wants you to let us know if any of you had any experience with Lean as a methodology and to what extent. So whether, regardless of whether it is from a theoretical point of view or from practice.
So Anna, while they're writing to you, I just would like to say thank you very much for having me here. It's really my pleasure to share some of my knowledge and some of my experience with Lean that I have gained throughout the past decade. Oh, I'm sorry. So I have prepared something for you guys, and I hope there will be a lot of questions that I can answer for you, but if not, then please connect afterwards with me to go into the more of Lean.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a bit more time when I need to turn on the live chat. Okay.
They are still writing?
I think we have an issue with the live chat, so just give me about a minute.
Oh, okay, that's a problem. Okay.
Okay, you can start with the topic while we try to fix this, if that's not an issue.
Sorry?
You could start with the presentation while we try to fix this in the background.
Okay. So I suppose the introduction went well, and we can start going into the topic?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as I already said, I've prepared a short introduction to Lean for you guys, not knowing really what your background is and what your knowledge is about Lean at all. I was thinking about just giving you a short, brief history of Lean and what Lean is all about, and hoping that you will have some questions that I would be able to answer. Let's start with some brief history, really brief. 40 to 60 minutes is a short time to learn a lot about Lean. Lean is quite old. You wouldn't say that because it's really a thing for the last 2 to 3 decades in many industries and services. But some say that Lean started in 1800 with in Japan with Toyota family, who were working on automatic loom, always thinking about how can we improve our production, and going from that late 1800s, early 1900s through Henry Ford. I hope you know Henry Ford's work, and through Frederick Taylor, and then to Deming and so on. Lean has developed into a scientific method that can help us improve quality, that can help us reduce lead time from the moment that customer asks for a product or service and the moment that we deliver it and get paid for it. Methods that can help us develop the most important resource that we have, and that's people in the companies. And a few important moments in the development of Lean are the post World War II years, where Lean was starting to develop in the way based on the question: how can we compete with strong American mass production? So in Japan, they were asking themselves, what can we do differently than America? What can we learn from them as well? And how can we compete with the strong mass production that we face over there? So they start to develop a system that is based on delivering the highest quality. And in 1950s, Taiichi Ohno described that system in what is called Toyota Production System. And I will go into that a little bit deeper later on. And in the years 90, Womack Jones and Ross described the way how Toyota works in the book that is called The Machine That Changed the World. And later on, they came up with lean thinking. Well, I was thinking about what to share with you, and these are the two books that I used as a fundament for this presentation. So if you want to look into the things that I will present later on, then you can maybe check these books if that is possible. Well, Taiichi Ohno, he's the manager. He was the manager at Toyota in 50s, and he described the way how they did how they worked at Toyota. And one of the things that he said is that if you want to compete, if you want really to be good in your business, then brilliant process management should be your strategy. And what Toyota thought and thinks is that we get brilliant results from average people managing brilliant processes. And what they said is that they observed that their competitors often got average or worse results from brilliant people managing broken processes. And this is the core of lean thinking, as lean thinking is process thinking. So when I say this, I really would love to ask you guys, what do you think about this saying of Taiichi Ohno? In face-to-face lecturing or seminar, I would go deeper into this one, because this is really what is it all about. If you have people in your company and you invest into developing in their development, then you will be able to improve yourself each and every day a little bit, and to manage really brilliant processes. So the core of Toyota, the core of lean, the core of this way of working is development of people. Going a little bit deeper into lean thinking. Lean thinking starts from the point of where the customer is. The customer definition of value is, what is it about? If we want to make a chair, then we would love to know what kind of chair our customer wants to have. Is it a wooden chair or a metal chair or some other kind of chair? So understanding really what kind of chair what kind of product or service our customer wants, his or her definition of that is the basic, the fundament for everything that we organize later on in our business. So you don't think from what we have from your organization and your assets, like, well, we have wood, let's make chairs. No, we have wood, but let's see what the customer wants from wood. So you start to manage your business backwards from the customer definition of value. If you know that, and you should spend really some time understanding that, then you can start designing and creating lean primary processes to deliver and support this value, having in mind that you should do this with minimum wasted effort and time, and with necessary lean support processes. When creating this, you are aiming towards building a lean management system to develop, sustain, and improve these processes over time. So it's not just one event in a time, but if you want to have sustainable business, then you should think about future and build a lean management system to develop, sustain, and improve your processes over time. And you should always be clear about customer purpose before designing these processes and organizing the people. What I see in my practice is that it's in 60-70% of the time that we have people design processes, then we think about purpose, and somewhere on the way we find some customers for our products or services, and we try to deliver something that looks like the value for that customer. So if you go the other way around, the chance that you will be sustainable, profitable for some long time is bigger. Fuji Cho is another Toyota man, and some of his sayings I really like, and this is one of those sayings. Many good American companies have respect for individuals and practice Kaizen. Kaizen is continuous improvement, but I will go into that a little bit later. And other TPS tools, Toyota Production System tools. But what is important is having all the elements together as a system. It must be practiced every day in a very consistent manner, not in spurts, in a concrete way on the shop floor. So having a lean in your company is not just having the tools. Lean has a toolbox, of course, and you can use some tools from the toolbox to reach some improvements, to realize to create some better products or services. But if you only use tools without the philosophy, without the culture behind these tools, then it's not going to be sustainable. So I already told you a little bit about Taiichi Ohno, and Taiichi Ohno is the guy who made this, who drew this house, the house of Toyota Production System and Lean. And in this house, he tried to capture what they were doing at Toyota. And the question is why he drew it as a house and not as something else. Well, house is a structural system, and the house is representing a strong system where the system is strong as the roof, the pillars, the fundament, and the people in it. So a weak link between those elements will weaken the system. So you have to have everything in place if you think that if you would like to work towards lean culture and TPS. There are many different houses based on this one, but in the basics, the basics are in these principles. What you see here, the roof of this house, there are words like quality, best quality, lowest costs, shortest lead time, best safety, and high morale. Most of you are working or studying still to become an engineer, to work probably in some industry where we are striving for best quality. But it's not really easy to deliver best quality, and especially to deliver best quality against lowest costs and to be very fast to deliver that. Most of our customers, and yourself as well, I think, would love to have what we need at the moment that we need it, the quality that we think of, and provide it in the way that we would like to have it. And very often we don't get what we want at the moment that we want it. We wait a long time to get it, and in many cases the quality is not what we hoped for. So in the top of this house, the quality stands on the first place, and then we work on the other elements. To deliver this quality, we have to be able to work just in time. So we have this pillar of time, and the focus on how to shorten the lead time between the moment that the customer asks something and the moment that we deliver it. Well, lean comes from the production environment, but nowadays we see application of lean in very different services and industries. So when talking about time, the first thing that I think about is, for example, healthcare system, and especially healthcare system in our country. Just a few hours ago, I spoke to my parents, and my mother told me that she's 80 plus, and she had to wait 4+ hours to get some examination done at the first aid in the city. And that's something that you don't want as a customer, as a patient. You really want to get the product or the service that you ask for as quickly as possible. So here we talk about right parts, right amount, and right time. And if you think about hospitals, if you think about healthcare services, that could be that you get your checkup at the time that you have your appointment, and not 2 hours later, and they do their the checkup in the proper way, not using the wrong stuff, or giving you the wrong information, but the information that you came for. That's the just in time. At the moment that you need it, you get it. Then we have this pillar of Vidoka, and that's a pillar that is oriented towards delivering a good quality. And here you can find tools that can help you provide good quality. And one of the things that is really helpful is to make problems visible. And how to do that? There are different ways to make it visible. In your study and probably in your practice, you use some graphs Well, that's the easiest way. If you have information about your process, then put it in the way that we can read it and that we can see it, and that it's very easy to see how the process goes. So where are the defects and how many we have. In the fundament of the lean house, you have stable and standardized processes, visual management, and lean philosophy and leveled production. Well, the time is too short to go into these elements, but be aware that these are really important. And if you don't have a stable and standardized processes, you are not able to improve your processes. So if you have a chaotic situation in your production environment, for example, then before you even start improving the situation, you have to make a picture of what is it right now, where are we right now, before we even start improving. So understanding the current situation, understanding where we are now, having a standard of the current situation is the starting point for improvement. In the middle of the house, you see continuous improvement, and that's what is a bit of cultural thing in post Second World War Japan, as they each and every day tried to improve themselves to become competitive with the rest of the world. And that means as a nation, but it also means as each and every company and as each and every person. And before you can start improving a piece of process, you have to be able also to improve yourself, meaning you have to have a good the right mindset to see, to improve, and to do that each and every day again. And many of us don't have that mindset by birth, but we can develop it, and that's what is happening a lot in, for example, in Toyota. And I'm not saying that all Japanese companies are really breathing this culture, but it's if I may say it in general, it's a bit of a cultural thing. And if we don't have it, we can develop it. But together with leadership and employees, you have to work each and every day on this. As a leader, I have to make an environment where improvement is possible, and as employee, I have to seek for this improvement. I have to be willing to improve myself each and every day, and to accept faults as something, not as a fault, but as a possibility to become better than I was yesterday. So our faults are the resources for new improvements. Okay, this is a little bit about this house of TPS. Lean philosophy, lean management, or Toyota production system is also also about waste reduction and problem solving. So I would like to take you a little bit later into the world of problem solving and the way and the Deming circle. I hope you all know it a bit. Plan, do, check, act circle, as that is in the core of the Kaizen, the continuous improvement, and becoming each and every day a little bit better. Okay, these are the things that I was just talking about. The heart of the TPS is the eliminating waste each and every day. It's a system based on a structure, not just a set of techniques. A weak link, as I said, weakens the whole system. And if the elements are strong, they reinforce each other. And the people, as the main and most important resources that we can have, are at the center of the house. I'm not going to read this one, but I will send this presentation to Anna, and she will share it with you so you can go through this on your own. I would like to go into the culture behind the TPS, the so-called Toyota way, where people are bringing the system to life as they are working, communicating, resolving issues, and growing together. I don't know if you know the saying, probably you have heard it before somewhere. If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you should go together. And it asks, it's not easy to be focused on the long term, not seeing the results today, but knowing that the results will come if we pursue to go in the right direction, in the direction that we have chosen. And you have to have everybody on board to reach your goals. And everybody is involved in continuous problem solving and improvement, from the top level to the work floor and back. So from top to down and from down to top. Everyone in their own in their own circle, but always connected with each other. In one of those books, in the Toyota way, there is the description of the business principles, the 14 business principles of the Toyota way, and it is about the philosophy, where we have this long-term thinking. It's about the process where we are focused on eliminating waste. It's about people and partners, where we talk about respect, challenge, and grow. And it's about problem solving, meaning continuous improvement and learning. I hope you all can follow my story without interacting up till now. Well, these 14 Toyota Way principles, the four main groups are divided in 14 subgroups. And when we talk about philosophy, then I would like each and every one of you to base your decisions more on long-term philosophy, even at the expense of a short-term financial, in this case, financial goals. For the businesses, the goals are very often financial. From the old businesses, mostly these are financial, and the management decisions are connected with these financial goals. What we see very often is that decisions are made for the short term and based on short-term sides. We discover that we are losing some money, so we just jump and act, not thinking about how this is going to impact our long-term results. So when working lean, we always think about the long term, even at the expense of short-term goals. The right process will produce the right results. Creating continuous process flow is very important, because if you have a flow in your process, meaning that there is that the product, for example, is going from station A to station B to station C to the customer without any stocks in between, without any waiting, unnecessary waiting in between the stations, then the problems, if the problem occurs, then you will see it, because the product is not flowing through the process. When we have stocks, when we have when the production is not really well organized, then a lot of things are happening, but we don't know really what is happening. So we don't see problems. They're surely not at the surface. What we also want in our processes is to have a pull system. And pull means that we only produce something when the customer asks us to produce it. So when a car is ordered, then we are going to produce it, not before that moment. If 2 cars are ordered, we are going to produce 2 cars. So the customer is pulling a car from our factory and giving us information to start producing. And here you again go from the customer backwards to what we have to do in the company, in our production. Level out the workload, that is that each and every station should have should be leveled towards the takt time. In other words, the takt in which the customer is calling his products. What we also often see is that when we have problems, we just keep on working. We just go on, fix the problems while we are working, not really knowing how we fix them. But we can continue, we can produce and go on, so we are happy. But we didn't fix the problem really for the long time. Tomorrow, the problem will be there again. So when I was talking about the mindset and the culture, in Lean we talk about the culture, building a culture of stopping to fix problems, to get quality right the first time. So we want that, I want really for everything that I do, that it is the first time right, so that I don't deliver defects to the next station, and that the next station can count on me, that I checked my product, my semi-product, before I send it to the other station. And if I see a problem, if I see some defects, that I will stop working and focus on solving that particular problem before we continue producing. If we don't do that, then we will have a huge stock of products which are not as good as we want to deliver them to our customer. Customer will not be satisfied, so you will have to do some rework, and rework costs time, and time costs money, so you will lose at the end. I was also talking about standardized tasks. These are foundation for continuous improvement and employee empowerment. If you have standards, then it's easy to share the knowledge. It's easy to instruct people how to do their work properly. It's easy to train them, to have people on board very quickly when you need them. If you don't have standardized tasks, then I will give my way of working to you with all my mistakes together with it. So together we will making some more mistakes than when we have standardized tasks, which are really well thought of and focused towards first time right delivery. I already told you that visual control is very important. When you walk into the Lean companies that are using Lean in their production, then you see everywhere visuals. You see graphs, you see numbers, you see red lights, green lights, and people working there know what it means and can use the information to continue producing producing good quality and as fast as needed. Well, this one you can't see. Oh. And when you use technology, if you have a bad process, please pay attention first to build a right process before you use the technology. Nowadays we have really great technology that can fasten everything what we do, but test your technology and make sure that it serves your people and processes in the right way. And before paying a lot of money for the technology, think about the process from the value side, from the value that it has to deliver to the customer, and then backwards how to organize the process, and then how to use the technology to even improve it even more. Oh, why doesn't? Okay, a few more to go, just to check time before I go further. Grow leaders who thoroughly understand the work, life and the philosophy and teach it to others. It's very important to teach each other, to learn from each other. Develop exceptional people and teams who follow your company's philosophy and respect your extended network of partners and suppliers by challenging them and helping them improve. But first you have to develop and improve yourself before you can ask your network of partners and suppliers to improve together with you. Very important in Lean is when there are some problems, it's better to go and see what the problem is, to see it with your own eyes instead of hearing what the problem is based on the words of others, based on whatever, instead of your own eyes. And when making decisions, make them slowly by consensus, thoroughly considering all options. But when you make the decisions, implement them very quickly. And become a learning organization through relentless reflection. And reflection is very important. It's called Hansei in Japanese. And that's from the, if you want to become a leader, lead engineer, or to lead a company, to be a managing, to be a manager, or whatever in this leading level, please remember to reflect on everything what you do and to learn from what you are doing, especially from the things that didn't go as you have expected them to go, and improve continuously, and that's Kaizen. Okay. This was a little bit of history, a little bit of 14 Toyota Way principles for business. When you focus on Lean, there are 5 Lean principles, 5 Lean steps for process improvement. Lean is about improving, this is when you talk with others about Lean. This is what you are talking about. There are 5 Lean principles, 5 Lean steps, and it starts with identifying value. I was already talking about it, so I'm not going deeper into that one. The second step is to map the value stream. I will go into that in a moment. When you map this stream and know how the process goes, you want to create flow, and then you can use some Lean tools to create this flow in your process. And the next one is to establish pool, deliver just that what is asked, nothing more, nothing less at the moment that it's asked, and seek perfection always. You will maybe never reach it, but shoot for the moon and improve each and every day a little bit. When we talk about identifying value, I'm curious if you recognize this cartoon. Starting, the first picture is about how the customer explained what he wanted. The second picture is how the project leader understood it. And the third one is how the analyst designed it. And then we have the programmer who wrote it, the business consultant who described it, how the project was documented, there was nothing, and what operations installed, and how the customer was built, and how it was supported, and what the customer really needed. So there are 10 pictures describing different departments, different views, but actually there is only one view, and that's the customer's view. So again, understand your customer properly, identify what the customer wants and what his perception of value is. Ford says, if I ask my customers what they wanted, they would say faster horses, but he built a car. So he understood what they wanted. They didn't want horses. They wanted to move from A to B faster than they were doing using their horses. So he translated their need. He understood their need and translated it into a car. The next step is mapping the value stream. And value stream is actually the process in which we deliver value. It identifies all the steps that we do, make, need, think that we need, but actually all the steps to deliver this product or service. And in this value stream, we see the steps that add value to the customer and steps that do not add value to the customer. So you see waste and you see value added time in the process. Why is it important to map the value stream? And we are starting with mapping the current situation, because we want to understand how we work. We want to understand thoroughly what is happening right now before we can move into the setting goals and improving. So if we don't know how the process is running, then we don't know where to focus on, and we also don't know where the knowledge is. In my practice, I see very often that in offices, people are thinking about how the process in the production is running. Engineering are thinking about assuming how the process is running. And very few are really putting their shoes on and going into the production, going to the production line and observing how the process really runs, where the process is not running and what is happening in each and every step. And if you do that, if you involve also the people from the workflow who are working in that process, you will gain much more knowledge than when you are working on your own in your office. So I would like to invite you all to just go and see for yourself how the products are made, what is happening in the production at the production line, how people are working, what they are talking about, what is their frustration and why is it frustration, and how many stock is there, how well or not organized is the environment where they are working. So you will, when just observing that and mapping the value stream, you will learn a lot what is valuable for the next step, and that is the step of creation, how to create flow. How we do this? This is the original way how the value streams are mapped. These are the symbols that we use to describe where the stock is, to show you the supplier, the customer, the information lines, the pull and the push lines, and how long does it take to deliver something. In this case, you see at the bottom of the screen, you see a line with some days and some seconds, and lead time in this case in this production process is 23 days, while processing time is only 230 seconds. And this is a very common thing.
Eén optie die ik in de buurt zie, is witte scholden op Kloosterstraat. Was ze hier nou op zoek?
Excuse me, it's my Siri. It's a technology I'm not asking for right now. Okay, back to the value stream mapping. You see there lead time, 23 days to deliver something, while it takes us only 230 seconds to make it. When you make this, the first question is, why can't we deliver this in just one day or in this 230 seconds? What kind of waste do we have in this process, and how to change it into something that really flows and delivers the product fast to our customer? And then we come to this waste in a value stream. And in Lean, we are talking about originally 7 wastes. Later on, the 8 waste was added. As we discovered, the Lean practitioners, discovered that value added time is only a small percentage of the total time. It's just 230 seconds from those 23 days that we are working on something. How often product is waiting to be picked up to go into the next stage? How many stocks do we have waiting for the next process step? So it's just small percentage of the total time that we really add value in our processes. And when you want to discover what kind of waste do we have in our processes, then we can talk about overproduction. We can talk about transport, unnecessary transport, unnecessary inventory. We can talk about waiting for calls, waiting for parts, meetings, approvals, direction, or cycle. When I talk about waiting, everybody knows some examples from their daily practice where waiting was a part of it, a big part of it. When we have to correct defects, that's a huge waste. When we have to move and search unnecessary for some things in the factory or in the office. And the last one that was added later was the waste of intellect and skills. If you have creativity, if you have talent and knowledge, and that is not used because the process is asking you to rework and to administrate and to whatever, then we talk about really huge waste. How do we create flow? Well, I see that time is flying. How do we create flow? What we really want is that products are smoothly going through the process steps. We believe that make one move one is better for the shortening of lead time than producing in batches. And sometimes you have to produce in batch, but you have to learn about that process and before you can decide really how big the batch should be. But the basics are in make one, move one. And you see here that lead time when you are producing it in a batch is about 20 minutes for 5 units. But when you go from make one, move one, you can reduce it to 8 minutes for these 5 units. I talked about this one. Only make what is pulled by the customer and just in time. So the customer, if we are looking from the customer perspective, a customer is sending us information that he or she needs something, and then we start from step 4, sending information to step 3, to step 2 and 1, and step 1 is then starting with producing what is needed, and not before the customer gave us this information. Seek for perfection. Seek perfection and strive for perfection by continually removing successive layers of waste. So each and every time when you improve a bit of the process, the new waste, then you will see the new waste on the surface. And you have to have this desired situation that you're working towards, and you will in a Kaizen we work, or with PDCA we work with small steps in each and every time, going through this circle, making first a plan, what to do, why to do it, what goals we would like to reach with this step, then do it, check, did we get the results that we were expecting? If we got them, then we are going to standardize the way of working, and so to be sure that we will keep on getting these results. If we don't get these results from this experiment of what we were doing, then we have to adjust. We have to again go into the plan phase to see what went wrong and how to change it in the next experiment. So we are climbing these stairs step by step, not wanting too much at once, but small steps towards this desired situation. And here I put the PDCA on one side and Kaizen on the other side, where Kaizen defines 6 steps and is based on PDCA. And Kaizen is change for good, and you can only change when you start changing yourself. You can't change your environment if you don't start changing yourself. And before doing it, I was describing it previously, you have to know what, why, and how. So definition of problem, and do a thorough analysis of problem, and then planning the solutions before you starting doing it in the way of implementing the solutions, before you can check the results. If you didn't set goals, you can't reflect on anything. Only when you set some goals, then you can see how good the results are. Did we expect these results or other results, and what do we have to do to start? What do we have to do next? Do we have to standardize or to adjust? Well, what is it all about in Lean? Value for the customer. If you focus on the value for the customer, and if you focus on the quality, then quality will rise, delivery will become better, faster, on time, and costs will be reduced. And this is what we are doing by eliminating waste, creating flow, and continuously improving our process and businesses. And some Lean in practice. Well, when I was starting this webinar this evening, I just shared a few words with Anna, and she told me that Raiffeisen Bank in Bosnia is also working with Lean. So where Lean started at the production sites, and is really a common practice in automotive industry, for example. I put here example of BMW, but choose automotive industry, choose a player in automotive industry. They're surely using Lean or some sort of Toyota production system adjusted to their environment. But what we saw and are still seeing for the last 3 decades is that Lean is developing into other environments. You see a lot of Lean in hospitals, in healthcare. in different kind of services. You see also lean being used for startup. When you want to start a company, there are some steps based on lean practice that are just a bit different from what I just explained you, but in the fundamentals, it's based on lean. And one of the latest developments is lean in the classroom, lean in the education, and that's where I really am involved a lot. How to put the customer, and customer is for me a student, in the middle of what we are doing as educators, as developers of each other, learners, teachers, and how to help student grow. Give the student what he wants at the moment that he can have it and need it, in the way that he can use it. This way of telling you a story, it's not always the right way to learn. Maybe to share knowledge, but learning is something else than sharing knowledge. So you see, and lean will develop itself a lot more. I'm really glad that in Bosnia and Herzegovina we see some examples of lean in practice. I was cooperating a little bit with a company from Konitz, with my engineers, and that's a quite old company. Started as Valčići, from what I know, and was a company from the Netherlands took Valčići over, and I think 3 years ago, there was this takeover by Tsubaki Nakashima, a Japanese company, and they are really practicing lean, a little bit more Lean Six Sigma than just lean, and making some quite good steps from what I've heard. So in my whole presentation, there are some links that you can use to research a little bit more. If you have any questions about lean, if you want to deepen your knowledge on lean, I would really like to be helpful in that. So please connect to learn together and to help develop each other, to become all a little bit better than we are today. Thank you very much for your time. There's almost no time for some questions, but Anna, I'm coming back to you and asking for some questions. I have a little bit more time if you would like to go into some lean issues a little bit deeper.
Yeah, we have a lot of really interesting questions from our scholars. So the first one is, what is the biggest challenge with introducing lean in a company?
Discipline. I can be very, very short in this one. Discipline and stick to your plan. Make plans. Stick to your plan. Go to the place where the things are happening, producing or delivering, and do it together from up till down, and develop people.
Okay.
Discipline.
Okay, so next one is how to most properly eliminate wastage of resources using lean.
Ooh, this is a difficult one. How to most properly eliminate the waste of skills and resources, people not used, not untapped, talented. You mean that, I hope. Well, you have first to discover that there is a waste of talent. So before eliminating this waste, you have to understand what is happening, and you also have to have a goal. Without goal, you will not discover that there is a waste of skills. If you want to become, well, help me with some examples. I can't come with an example right now. Anyhow, please understand first the situation where we are aiming for. What are you striving for as a company? If you want to become the leading company in AI, for example. And you start with that's the goal, and you start with understanding the situation where you are right now. You can discover that you have people who are very who have quite some knowledge about AI, but in the environment where they are working, it's not possible to use this knowledge because they're always busy with some other things. Well, if we want to become the number one company in AI, then we have to eliminate all this other stuff, or to organize it differently if it's necessary, to free up people who have this knowledge that we need. Otherwise, you will not make these steps towards becoming the number one AI company.
Okay, thank you. We have a lot more questions. Okay, so one of them is, could you please elaborate on lean thinking on a personal level and potentially scaling it up to the company and society level?
Oh, I'm very often thinking about using lean to change the world, to change Bosnia and Herzegovina, to help, not to change. I would love to help. So you can. When I think on the society level, then you could say, well, let's become proud of what we are and what we do. And what is proud for us? Well, that we have well-developed people, youth, and how to reach that goal is to zoom in the educational system and how we are developing these people, so you can change something there. So that's from social level down to earth. From personal, if you have a goal to become, for example, a lead engineer, and you just have finished your school, your education, starting at the company, knowing a lot from books, not having enough experience, then I would sit down with my supervisor at the company and discuss the expectations, the goals that I have, the goals that company has, and where we can meet each other in this development. So you can use these steps, making a plan, defining where you are now and where you want to be in a couple of months, couple of years, and cutting into the small steps, reflecting on those small steps, doing and reflecting on the small steps can help you to become this lead engineer in 3 years' time, instead of just wanting to become lead engineer and doing a little bit here, a little bit there, not sharing your vision or ambition with others, and not asking help to become this engineer. I really would love to show you some personal development paths when using lean steps or PDCA steps, but I don't have time to do that right now.
Okay, and then we have, how can we know that the company has improved enough and should demand the same from their partners?
And should this demand?
The same from their partners.
Oh, I would love to give this question back to you guys, but that's impossible right now. When you play some sports, how do you know that you have improved? How do you know that you are better than a year ago? Another example, when you bake a cake, or use a recipe to make something, to make a dinner, mostly you have a picture in a book or on the web of what you would like to make. So as a company, I have a picture what I would love to become. And not only in money, not only in profit, but surely in purpose. So if I have that picture clear, then I can work towards that picture, and I can cut it in small steps. I can say that this year I would like to grow my services beyond what I'm doing today, beyond just delivering the internet, for example. But I would like to do to deliver more than internet, deliver some other services. If you don't do that, then you will not know how fast or slow you are growing, and how to create this picture, how to create this goal. You have to know the market that you are wanting to serve. You have to really thoroughly understand your customers. If you understand them, then you can make smart goals for the years to come. You have to have a clear vision where you are aiming for, and then you can make the short cycle plans and do this PDCA, climbing the stairs towards these goals and reaching your vision.
Okay, we're moving on to a question from Merima. So she posted 2-3 questions which are kind of related, so I'm gonna read them all at once. So she's asking how to tell customers that they sometimes make mistakes in their user stories, but then how to retain clients, and should we tell them that we will implement the project properly without being angry? Without being angry with a much smaller value they would get.
This is really a quite general description. How to. If you do it properly, then you are continuously in communication with your customers. You don't get this order from the customer and start producing with that, and then delivering over 6 months, delivering something to the customer. You are always in connection with your customer, knowing what the customer wants, especially when we are working in IT. What the customer wants there is not always clear. So you have to help the customer develop their vision as well by asking good questions. And that's also something that you can you have to practice a lot and use a lot. And you can learn how to ask good questions and how to listen to your customer and not be satisfied with faster horses from Ford, but knowing that faster horses stand for moving faster from A to B. Okay, and what do I have to know from the customer to be able to deliver something that moves them from A to B faster than a horse? So staying in contact throughout the whole production period, creation period, is very important and helps you to not deliver what customer doesn't want. And nowadays the technology is really changing fast, and what we know today is really different what we knew a few days ago in technology, and it's really different from 6 months forward. So if we are not in connection with our customer, then the chance that the customer will gain new insights and that the value will change as well, and we will not be on board together with customer, understanding this change of his or his value, the value of the product or services, then we will lose the customer. And then rework is always difficult. Rework is something that you shouldn't be willing. Try not to think in repairing something, but delivering something first time right. And being connected with customer helps you to deliver what customer wants, what customer needs.
Okay, I think we have time for the two remaining questions, and everything after that, I would like to just forward your contact, if that's okay with you, for any more questions. Is that
That's fine with me.
Okay. So the second to last question is there an example of lean application in the NGO or government sector?
Oh, there is, and that's a very difficult sector to implement lean. I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but in NGO we don't see really we don't have the urge, maybe the urge to change. In the commercial businesses, if we don't sell, we don't get money, and we will die as a company. In NGO, we will stay alive. Similar in education, we will go on. And when you don't have urge to change, urge to improve, then it's quite difficult to do it. So you will have to have a really good leader to embrace the lean thinking, to embrace leadership, lean leadership, and to have a vision of better governmental system, better administration than today, before starting using anything else from lean. So they are NGOs. I don't know them by name right now. I can't come up with few, but there are examples in the Netherlands for sure. But it's really not easy, and I'm waiting for the day that becomes easy, and that NGOs and governmental institutions use lean more.
Okay, and we have a question. In your opinion, what is the main reason for lean being rarely implemented in business in Bosnia and Herzegovina?
We are not aware of lean. So I think that's the first case, that we don't know maybe enough about it to start using it. Lean works very well where you have a company, where you have a production site that has to that really has to change to be profitable again, and so the knowledge, experience, you have to have some examples around you. You have to have coach near you who can help you make those steps, who can help you reflect. So these are the things that should be in place to be able to start. So I would say let's start developing new lean leaders in Bosnia, with a hope that in 20 years we will have a promising economy and a good environment to live and work in.
Thank you very much. There's just one single more question, and that is, are there any book recommendations on applying lean thinking to personal development?
To personal development, not really. But if you have some questions on that one, please connect with me. I can maybe help you with some ideas. How to use the philosophy for yourself. But there is a lot is written about reflection, about coaching. What you could use maybe is Toyota Kata, Improvement Kata and Coaching Kata from Mike Rutter, and that's the book that is close to the basics could be used for personal development as well, but it's not really as defined as that, as personal development.
Okay, I guess that concludes the webinar. Thank you, Lejla, once again on the behalf of the BH Futures Foundation. It was a very, very enjoyable and engaging webinar, and I believe we all learned a lot today.
I hope so. It was really my pleasure to give you this. I hope that that some eyes opened and that you will connect with me and ask some more questions, and that I will be able to help you, especially in that personal development part where the interest is.
Thank you. Okay, so have a nice evening.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, you all.
Bye.
Bye.